Okay, YouTubers, I'm back. So, went ahead and cleaned out and put together and fixed and basically put together the rest of the machinery thing. The cleaner thing was really kind of boring, tedious and everything. I don't know if you wanted to watch that, but I basically just cleaned it with gas and just scrubbed it down. So now it's turned out very nice. Also, I also did right here the guard, beautiful. The pole and everything is beautiful. It looks brand new, or it looks very nice, very nice and stuff. It has a little bit of wear and stuff, but it looks very nice. Now we're going to go ahead and see if it runs. Yep. Okay. Okay, so give it a little bit more idle. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and go back to one turn on each the high and the low idle needles. Okay. Okay, so it runs really good, high speed, but it does not want to go work in low and idle. So I need to go ahead somehow Okay, I'm going to go ahead and try 1.5 turns out on each one. 1.5. Wait. Okay. Let's just say right here. Okay. Okay, I think I like that. So what I did in everything is I went ahead and I put 1.5 turns and just put a little bit of extra, so the idle will have a little bit of extra, a tiny bit extra gas in the chamber to go ahead and lubricate it and to cool it down. And then on the high speed and everything, I went ahead and give it a little bit extra, so to go ahead and it would go ahead and spin up faster, and it would have just a little bit extra lubrication for the cylinder. You don't want to, what a lot of people like to do in their things, they go ahead and they go to a point where it's the highest spinning it can get and everything, as much revs as they can't, and they leave it there. But what happens when it's spinning that fast, there's not enough lubrication in the piston, in the bottom of the piston, you know, for everything, you know, so it gets burned up and everything. So what I do is I give it just a little extra, like a 1/8 or so extra mix and everything, so we'll go have a little bit of extra oil and everything for the pistons and stuff, so it doesn't fry out. Works very good, you know, usually very good. And even though this is a 2-stroke and everything, you don't see like a whole bunch of smoke. So it's right in between not enough and way too much lubrication or too much gas. Because your 2-stroke oil and your gas, actually your gas is what runs it, but then your 2-stroke oil and everything is what goes ahead and lubricates the parts. And it's a 2-stroke because it's a mixed gas and oil. And what that does, that goes ahead and lubricates your piston and your rings and stuff like that, and everything else are in there that moves around that needs lubrication. So you want to keep just a tiny bit more gas in there, just to give it a little bit of a you know what the thing is that I'm kind of like such a perfectionist and everything. I want it to run as perfect as possible, but then you try to go ahead and run as perfect as possible and everything, perfect as possible. But then what happens is that you kind of messed up the really kind of like you overdo it, and then you just kind of mess it up and everything. It's just when it's good and everything, when when it starts up really good and it idles good, and then you go ahead and give it gas and it responds really good within a second or two, that's good enough. And but being my OCD and everything, I'll probably try to make sure that it goes even faster. Give it a tiny bit more gas to make it faster. No, just keep it like that, because then this is not a sports machine. This is just a two-stroke weed eater. It doesn't have to be perfect, but sometimes I want to be perfect and I can't. Also, if you give off a little bit more gas or anything, give it a little bit more gas and oil and everything. If you put a little bit more oil in the gas and stuff, that's okay. The only thing that's going to happen is that your piston, your spark plug will get dirty or get carboned up and everything faster and quicker. But you can go ahead and always take out your spark plug and everything, clean it on a wire wheel, and you'll be fine. So it doesn't hurt anything really. Because your weed eater.
Ooh, the smoke. Puppy.
Clady, look at this. Look. Anyway, that was my wife. I think she's let the dog out and stuff. Anyway, so this is a quick fire starting. Just prime, push, and pull. It's so far. The thing is that the piston and the cylinder and the rings and stuff were all good. They just had maybe just a little too much gas in it and everything. It caused it to build with too much gas or whatever. You want to give it a fine tune of enough that'll get lubricated, but not too much where it's going to go ahead and gum up. But I think what happens is that this maybe must have been gummed up or something. So it looks like I haven't cleaned it and everything, but it looks like it has a new fresh deposit of oil on here. So, but it still looks really nice and clean inside the piston. Yeah, it does. Yeah. Well, I cleaned out the piston and everything, so it's really nice and clean. But this is really good. I'm really happy that it came out this way. Okay, and John Deere stuff. This seems to be a very nice little weed eater, and should say when it was manufactured, okay, there's a 30 cc's. I do not see the date of manufacture, but I'm pretty sure I saw it on here sometime that was made at 2011. So that, let me see. Okay, I think it says 2011. I can't really see the sticker, but this was made in 2011. Not bad. I say it's pretty good, actually. Let's hear it one more time. Yeah, I like that. It has a really throaty exhaust. It's like a small racing car, something like that. Small racing engine. You know, it's really throaty, and when you go ahead and give it gas, boom! It spins up really quick. I like that. I like that. Anyway, I've got this done, and I got other stuff to do. So anyway, YouTubers, I hope you enjoyed my little video and everything, how to fix a John Deere weed eater. And please go ahead and press like and subscribe and share and stuff. You know, help me make it to at least 1,000 subscribers and stuff. You know, the whole deal. You know, and hopefully I can get into other stuff than just weed eaters. I want to try and get into hedgers and edgers and lawnmowers and stuff. But I get a lot of weed eaters and stuff. That's all I get sometimes, you know. A chainsaw here and there and stuff. Might get a lot of chainsaws and stuff because where I live here, there's a lot of people who love to cut their trees and stuff. So, you know. Anyway, YouTubers, that's it from Two Stroke Fanatic, and I will see you later.